So, hi everybody. We have here today Dayna Hope Weisfield. She is a master in Reiki, a wonderful healer, and she has a passion for past life regression that she does through a hypnotic process. So we're going to talk with her about what is hypnosis, what's the value in doing past life regression, when does it function, or it's adequate to do this kind of therapy, and we'll see what comes up from what we start hearing the dialogue with Dayna. So thanks so much for accepting the interview, Dayna.
Thank you.
I'm very glad I met you. It's been a great journey, all the things that we've done together. And I want to ask you, since we're going to focus on past life regression, how can we do a past life regression, and what is it good for?
Okay, and let me first say I'm just honored to meet you and be here with you as well. I loved what you said about how I go in. You called it a hypnotic process, which I love that explanation. I may use that because the idea of hypnosis sometimes scare people. You know, they aren't sure what to think about it, and so I really like the fact that you called it a hypnotic process, because it really is a process, a combination of things that I've done. Okay, so to answer your question, what is regression good for? Basically, is that your question?
Yeah, that we could start with that, so people get really into that subject.
And let me, as I call them past life regressions. Sometimes I actually call them illuminations. I do future illuminations as well. So I guess my thought process here is we don't actually have to believe in past lives per se. You know, there are a lot of theories out there right now about what a past life really is and how time works, and you know, that we could talk for an hour about that. You know, what is time really? So I don't want people to get caught up in the word, you know, past life or regression. Basically, regressions are good for clearing out, balancing, propelling people forward, healing. You know, it's my intention when I create an atmosphere or a space or hold a space when I'm working with someone to create healing. Mm-hmm. And so I guess just in a nutshell, to me, regression, it's a tool that I like to use, and I use it to facilitate healing. Now, all types.
You do that through, as the word you like, a hypnotic process. Can you explain, just for the fact that a lot of people are afraid of hypnosis because they think they're going to lose their will and they're going to be used to do this, and we're going to get a little into hypnosis as well. But can you explain what is really hypnosis, and how does it happen? How can somebody lose completely connection with themselves, and you know, through what we've read the books of Brian Weiss and know about the case he had this client, and she was completely gone into oblivion or whatever, and so a lot of people think that they're going to lose their will, or they're going to lose consciousness, and they're not going to be aware of what's happening. And maybe that's one of the reasons why people really are afraid of hypnosis. So can you explain more about what hypnosis is, and why would people have to fear it or not?
Right. That's an excellent question, and I have so many answers going on in my mind right now. But hypnosis is basically, people think a lot of times that you're completely tranced out and you're so out of it. That can happen in certain situations, but for the most part, with hypnosis, I mean, it's actually, I like to think of it, when I create that hypnotic environment, it's actually a hyper-awareness, because you're really more truly aware. You get the subconscious mind and all the chatter and all that stuff out of the way. It calms all of that, it quiets the mind, and you're actually hyper-aware of your true essence, if you understand what I'm saying. And people, when I do a hypnotic session, you know, I tell people this is not a strange place for you. It's someplace that you go at least twice a day, and for most people more often than that, because All it is a change in brain waves. And so, I mean, we start out in beta, which is full consciousness. When you're completely aware, we're pretty much, I kind of like to live a little below beta, because I like to calm and I meditate every day and everything like that.
So what we're doing right now is better?
Yes, we're fully aware, we're
Okay.
talking, we're, fully aware of our environment
Okay.
physically and...
Like what we do normally every day.
Right.
That's a better
Right.
level of,
Right.
okay.
And then you go into a alpha state, which you're a little more relaxed. People who meditate every day, usually they don't go as deep as a theta, which is the next level, but you're in a more, it's kind of like a pre-meditative state. You're calm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little below that active mind
Mm-hmm.
that you're in beta.
And what happens in alpha? I mean, what's the benefit of alpha?
Alpha is a very healing place to be, a very relaxing. You're more relaxed. All of the systems work better. Physically you respond, to the neuro idea of being a little more relaxed. Stress is really not an issue in beta. So it's a healthy place to be, which is why I think it's important for people to do some sort of meditation on a daily basis to get yourself, a little, you go more within.
You quieter space.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens? There's a deeper levels of consciousness, or?
Oh, definitely. The work that I do, it's my intention to take my client and keep the client at a theta level, which is the third level, and it's a deeper type of relaxation. What you pass through, this is what I was saying. People feel very comfortable there because they pass through these levels of consciousness several times a day. And every day when you wake up, you pass through the bottom level, which is deep sleep, which we'll talk about. But you pass through this theta level every day as you're awakening. It's kind of that little it's like you're aware, but you're still kind of...
Hypnagogic state.
Yeah.
The hypnagogic state,
Yes.
where you're sort of in between worlds.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we pass through that every morning when we wake up. We pass through it again in the evening when we go to sleep. So it's a very familiar place. So people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to be hypnotized. And I'm like, you just pass through the exact state that I'm going to facilitate here this morning when you woke up. And you're going to do it again tonight. And you do it every day. And you probably go halfway there when you're watching the television sometime if you watch TV. We often... You ever drive somewhere and a few minutes later you wonder how in the heck you got there?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's somewhere between the alpha and theta level. Your mind is very relaxed, but you're hyper aware. You're very aware of everything.
No, I just wonder, with this example you just gave, is who's driving? If your mind is elsewhere, you're not totally aware of driving, who's in charge?
Well, I'm going to answer that with a question. If a gentleman is working somewhere and he cuts off his arm, and that arm's not there anymore, who is he? Is he less of someone if his arm's gone?
So, but are there? That's a great answer. A great question.
It's a question.
So again, so that means that we can function in different levels at the same time.
Absolutely.
Does this
And we
mean,
all do it on a more regular basis than everyone really even is aware of sometimes.
So would this also point us to make us become aware that not only we can function in different levels, but at the same time we can probably be in different dimensions at the same time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yes. I don't know that we want to get off on dimensions. It's that's going to go with our little time talk.
Yeah.
But yes, there are many dimensions, and we can visit them frequently. And we can definitely travel, to different places in our
conscious space,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever embraces the whole idea of consciousness. Amazing. So I wonder, through your experience with clients and through your own experience, have you discovered that we actually have had past lives? Because everybody's curious, oh, I wonder what I've been in a past life, and that's the sort of curiosity people have about what they've been in past lives, not exactly about how a past life can be affecting this life. So have you found in your process and through clients and everything that we actually have lived before?
I don't claim to actually know the answer to that. I mean, I'm having a human experience here as well. I have my beliefs, just like we all do, about what past lives really are. I mean, my belief is that these experiences are all happening at the same time. And we have, for the lack of a better word right now, we have memories, and we have energetic things going on through some of those other experiences. So in our human experience right now, we it's almost like we have to experience that as a past life.
Okay, because of that time issue.
Yes,
the way
because we
perceive
don't
time.
really. Yes, because we don't really perceive. I mean, it's hard in this physical experience to perceive what time really does. So you can have people who will argue that, oh, well, it's not really in the past, It's just what we call it because it's because of our perception right now. So when I say, yes, I've had clients who have experienced past lives, I mean, multiple past lives, multiple clients with, unique past lives. I don't want to get caught up with anybody that might say, but, it all happens at the same time, so it's not really a past life. And it's, the bottom line that I really believe is that however it happens, it affects us. And it is a part of us. And there is a core energetic attachment to things that we either have experienced in a past life or are experiencing on another timeline, or however you want to look at it. We definitely have experiences that are affecting us. Maybe we can even call it another dimension. We have experiences going on or that have happened in other dimensions, other times, whatever, that affect who we are right here, right now.
That makes it really complex to understand what we really are. If we have lived in dimensions and we have, like the third dimension, that's what we're living right now. It's a time-based, time-space-based reality, but that's not the ultimate reality. No. And we are becoming more aware of that. So for sure, when we start looking at, oh, maybe there's many dimensions where we have been and come from, and there's past lives and there's future lives, oh my God, it could be overwhelming. Maybe that's the reason why in the third dimension, we only have to focus on one at a time.
Right.
Now, carrying things from the past, have you noticed by any chance, people, when they do a past life regression, as it is called, that they go back into that memory or that time, and then they get hooked into that life and are unable to completely live in the present life, like they can stay in the past life? Has that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of when people have, core issues that keep happening over and over again. It's like old habits that you don't understand where they came from, but they keep, it's like they're in your life and you don't understand why. I think a lot of that is on an energetic level. Yes, they have some really strong emotional attachment to something that they've experienced. And it transfers into the present as guilt, anger, all of the emotions that, we may be attempting to overcome when we're trying to become whole and complete and be in our full power. They definitely carry those energies over. And the reason, like I said, I don't claim to, I haven't done years and years and years of studies and understanding the mind and all those kind of things. I mean, I feel like I have a knowing, and I know how things work. But I have, I've studied with teachers and masters who have done all of this research. And so it's out there to try to understand exactly how this happens. But my experience with my clients is just even I have people come in who are just very, very skeptical. They're afraid. And then even the ones who come in and they're excited, they want to know what's affecting them now that has happened in the past. And so I see time and time again, we go through this hypnotic process, they relax, we get them into the theta level, we get that subconscious, questioning chatter out of the way, and they go exactly where they need to go to get information. And even some of them, and it's okay, some of them will say, I feel like I'm making it up, and that's fine. That's kind of how it works when we're in this physical experience. When you're exploring like that, sometimes people may feel like they're making things up. But once they get to the core issue and they see something that is what they need to see at the time to help release something that's going on now, the emotional release and the emotional feeling that they have, it's almost like there's just absolutely no way that they could be sitting here making up some story just for the heck of it and have the emotional release and response that they have. Mm-hmm. To me, that's all the proof I need. I see these emotional releases. Mm-hmm. And so whether it's that life actually happened, there's something about the experience and your subconscious, you go where you need to go to release this information based on, where I guide you and how I relax you. People, and there's a little bit of suggestion, in the hypnotic process. So, I always tell them that they will go to the life that is most affecting this life and receive the information that they need to receive. But just watching them release emotionally, I know that there's something to this, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And watching people feel this healing process. So, whatever you call it, whether it's past life or it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
And
it's happening.
It's something is happening, and there is something that they have held on to for years and years and years, eons sometimes, that is affecting them now. And we all have these energetic connections to these experiences that we've had through time, is my belief. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of that, it makes us who we are today. But what's beautiful about this hypnotic process and, the regressions is that we also, even though it makes up who we are, all these energies and all these combinations of beliefs and experiences that we have, they also are, they're palatable. We can change them. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the word I was looking for. But we can change them, we can alter them through our intention, through our experience, through our understanding of what's really happened maybe in a past life. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just that recognition that, wow, that happened. It's not happening right now, but I understand why I react to certain things because that happened. And once you recognize it and see it, sometimes it just poof, it just lets go of you. And you have the ability at that time, through your intention to explore and feel better and heal, you shift.
So it seems that we are an ocean of experiences gathered through many lifetimes. What would be the purpose of going through so many lifetimes? Is there a place where we need to reach, to get to? Do we all need to go to the nirvana state in order for us to be released of so many past lives experiences and accumulation of experiences? What do you think about that?
Well, once again, I defer to I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wish I knew it all. I know what my beliefs are.
Okay.
you know, it is my belief that we're never, you know, sometimes I think we get caught up in that wanting to be done, wanting to be the perfection. And the fact is, I mean, what I believe is that I don't think we're ever really done with the experiences. I think we're coming back to our perfection. I think it's about having all the experiences and gaining the understanding so that we allow ourselves to be the pure perfection that we are.
Okay.
I mean, I believe that's what we are.
Okay.
Our true essence
is perfect.
is perfect. Our true essence is a nirvana experience.
So then the question would be the other way. Is there a reason why we have to go through so many dark spaces and disconnection from our true essence for us to become aware of who we really are?
Well, I mean, I speak this on a daily basis. I say this all the time. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. I mean, to me, I truly believe in the light and the dark. I truly believe in positive, negative. I truly believe in, you know, up, down. You know, I mean, the
that's a reality we live here, at least in this dimension.
Right. And so I think, I mean, to me, it's like, it's pretty simple. We say, you know, how can you appreciate what you are if you haven't experienced anything else? So I think it's about experiencing everything, every possibility. And I don't think necessarily that each one of us individually, because I mean, here's another whole conversation, you know, whether we are individuals or whether we're one, you know, and I you know, I feel like we're one, and I think we're having some individual experiences, but they expand into the one whole. So it's my belief that we're all just kind of contributing to that experience. I mean, experiencing everything that you could ever imagine, every possibility that could ever exist. And the thing that's funny is I think as the possibilities exist, more possibilities are created. So when you look at people trying to reach a certain point, I don't think that's ever really.
But in some place of ourselves, there's a feeling that there's a place where we must reach. I don't know if it's some people believe like paradise, some people believe nirvana or enlightenment, or some people believe like fusion with the oneness. There seems to be that in some part of our DNA there's a
desire for more.
to get to some place.
Yes.
So maybe if we have that tendency, and you say it's all about balance, maybe there's a reason why we have that inclination to have a feeling that there's some place that we can reach that is maybe that's in perfect balance with our perfection.
Well, I think at some level, the core absolute level, we know what that perfection feels like. And I think we're trying to, I mean, this is just I think we're trying to feel that feeling of perfection that we know that we are, that is our ultimate. I think we're trying to experience that on a physical, on a human, in the human experience. And I think the
human experience, maybe we're not.
Right, well, and that, I mean, to the human experience, the physical experience is somewhat limited. That's a dimension that is somewhat limited in concept, I guess, in theory, the human. But I think because what our core and true essence is, which, I mean, is, you know, it's a being of light, energy. A energy, God, whatever you want to call it, that universal light energy, I think we, as human beings, we are just striving to feel that in our human experience, because we know it's there. And so I think, I mean, I believe that it can come together, and I mean, it can come together in an instant right now. I mean, you and I can honor our perfection right this moment and be it. Easy to say.
Yeah, it's easy to say.
and in truth, it's probably much easier than a lot of us make it.
Yeah, can probably be. It's just, it seems that we can get there and be there if we just get out of the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I say get out of the way, maybe get our egos out of the way or our minds out of the way and just live in the moment, maybe,
Right.
in emptiness or
Right.
in the... Because...
Which, that really brings to the light what I create in my sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what happens when we relax the body, we relax the mind, we get all that stuff out of the way, and it allows you just this one moment in time to work with your perfection, to be with it, to see what little things, glitches may be keeping you from seeing your perfection.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a question that has to do with our imagination, because every session that you do, maybe people go to different places. Have you ever had somebody, 2 different people or 3 different people have the same experience of going to the same personality in a past life? Like maybe everybody thinks they have been Napoleon or something like that. Have you had that experience, or have you noticed that everybody goes to a different place?
I've never had that experience. Everybody goes to a different place.
That would mean that the way we bring up the imagery, which people believe, oh, it's just my imagination. They say it's just my imagination. Or what? Why would people never imagine the same thing? Is there a reason why everybody imagines, if we can call it imagery, when they go to this experience, something different? Why would you think that is?
Well, that's the beauty of perception and everybody's individual perception, which I think that's an incredible question, because I know that, it's my desire to see everyone appreciate that individual perception. Mm-hmm. If we all realize that our perceptions are individual. But I think it goes back to what we said, is that it's like we're all a piece of the puzzle, bringing all these possibilities together. Mm-hmm. And so if we weren't all able to somehow experience everything in a different light, mm-hmm. There would be no point. We're all coming together as a whole, and we all have these perceptions, and we're all experiencing different possibilities, so that we can truly be one and have this fullness of the experience. Mm-hmm.
So, through the experiences that you have gone with clients and yourself, do you believe there is twin souls, same souls, karmic souls, soulmates, or twin flames, or that kind of thing, that when people go back, they sort of connect with somebody that has been a very strong influence in their lives, whether they're alive or not in this lifetime?
Well, I definitely believe in soul groups, groups of souls who are at this timeline, or this moment in time, or this dimension, or whatever we want to call it, are working on similar things. I believe there are a lot of us that come here to work specifically on relationship and how we work with others. There are some that, there are just multiple things that we can come, I think, experience. And so I definitely believe that there are soul groups that work together time and time again in the different timelines and the different times and the dimensions. I do believe that I don't necessarily believe in one, quote, soulmate, mm-hmm. but I do believe in a twin flame. I do believe in it's the whole yin-yang.
The principle behind the creation of the life in polarity.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I believe there is that.
What's the difference? What's a twin flame? What's a soulmate? What's your feeling about the difference between those two?
I don't, I used to, this is one of those things, we grow and we change, and I used to really believe in this one soulmate and this twin flame. And I really feel like, I believe we all have our own flame. I think we resonate with a lot of different souls, and we mirror with so many, everything, not so many, but I'm not totally buying into the one individual soulmate that is our twin flame, and I don't know why. That's just where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have a feeling about this. What do you?
I'm not completely sure. I do feel that for the fact that out of the emptiness, which is the Tao, for instance, came the yin and yang,
Mm-hmm.
and out of the yin and yang, within the yin you have a yang, within the yang you have a yin, and this breaks down into something else. I do believe that there's a initial bonding of two energies to make a one polarity,
Right.
the polarity,
Right.
and from that it breaks down into millions and trillions of possibilities.
Right.
So it's like what I feel, which I may be wrong as well, maybe right, maybe wrong, but the tendency that I feel is like every cell in our body gets together to create a whole body, which is like, for instance, the divine God body.
Right.
But every cell, which is made out of atoms, and so, has to become one cell has to have the polarities. So we are one as humanity, to like the whole body is one.
Right.
But every single cell is every single cell that unites with the rest to become one. So at a very deep level, we are all one. But in the individual cells is like the individual experience of every human being. So I don't know. Maybe there's
So
something.
one of those levels.
At one of those levels.
That it is about the polarity, and that there is.
There is.
Yeah.
Now you have the next level, which is the connection between one cell and the other one to make a little space. So you have these connections at different levels, but there's one that is the closest, which is the first single cell. And if I relate that to biology, or how things start,
geometry as well.
Geometry, biology, like when a baby starts, it's the union of sperm and the how do you call the óvulo?
The egg.
The egg. Okay, so they before they create the first cell, they were single individual nothingness. They come to create life. And so they unite in polarity, and that's the first thing that counts. That's the first cell.
Right.
And then it starts growing and making a whole body of millions of different cells, trillions of cells. So I believe there's that first spark, which is the one that creates the life, and then it becomes a whole diversity. That's why we all, as the group souls you mentioned, the group souls maybe are the ones that make the whole body of the experience
Right.
of that individual.
Right.
If I can use that analogy.
Yes.
Does it make any sense?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay,
definitely
good.
does.
So that's my feeling about it, but I do believe that having the experience with a twin flame or a soulmate is not necessarily the ultimate experience. It could be very, very,
Oh, it's very powerful.
very powerful, and it could be very dangerous and hurtful, because sometimes one soul has to shake and jolt the other one to wake up.
Right,
And
right.
so-
Which is why sometimes I don't like to talk about my soulmate this, my soulmate that, and because everybody has this. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people have the perception that the soulmate is that.
The one.
That beautiful, wonderful thing where everything's just perfect,
Uh-huh.
and our perception of perfect is not really always
Yeah.
on, because perfect might be the one that comes along and jolts you out of
Exactly.
your sleep.
Uh-huh.
And so your soulmate in this moment might have been some guy who came and beat you
Messed me
and
up.
made you wake up
Yeah.
and find your inner self.
Exactly.
So that's why it's like when somebody says soulmate, I know where people's perceptions go a lot of the time, and
Yeah.
and I, like I said, perfection is not always what we think perfection is. Perfection.
Or arriving at least to perfection. There's many paths to arrive to perfection, but the state of perfection is a state of
being,
completeness or whatever, which is different. And okay, so we're going back to the past life regressions. Have you had experiences where people go back to the same lifetime, or every session they go to someplace else?
I have had some go back to same lifetimes. What generally happens is if they do that, if they go back to the same lifetime again, it's because they didn't totally release or come to an understanding, or it's like the healing didn't take place.
Okay.
They're still emotionally attached to it.
Okay.
And so they'll go back again and they'll see something else that makes them go, oh, okay, I can let go of that now, Generally, because what we're experiencing every moment is a little different, a lot of times, one session, they'll be somewhere in their mind and something will be the focus, and there'll be something that they're working on. It may be the same core emotion or the same core issue, but there will be multiple lifetimes where they've carried this same energy with them. And so they may go to one life that had an attachment, and they may feel the need to go to another life that carried the attachment as well. But so often they'll go to the very first one that created the issue. And once that one's released, you're good.
So the idea of doing this kind of therapy is to find some sort of release in understanding or becoming aware of whatever is being an obstacle in this lifetime, or the lack of understanding about why something's happening. So you find the release what I'm trying to get to is to understand the release thing. I mean, if somebody gets touched by something, the release, how does it happen? I mean, tears come out, people start screaming, crying. What happens in the release that that they have touched into something important?
It is usually tears. I mean, then sometimes someone will feel, they'll feel anger. They'll feel an emotional, it's almost like when a child has done something wrong and their parent just takes them and holds them and says, everything's okay. Everything's okay. I love you and everything's okay. You're perfect just the way you are. It doesn't matter the mistakes you made or that you think you made. I love you and everything's okay. And it's kind of like that sort of emotional release where you just go, oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, I'm okay. I didn't do anything wrong. I've carried this guilt for years and years and lifetimes and eons over something that I now recognize either wasn't my fault or, however we construct it in our minds. So it's a release that way, that they just go, oh my God, I'm not responsible for everyone else's happiness. I'm not, that was a big one. All these things that we hang on to that aren't necessary or that serve us. And a lot of those things it's not necessarily something in this particular human experience. It's something energetically
that will bring him
through
back.
time that we've carried on over and over. For some reason and I don't even still understand this glitch, why there are certain things that each one of us, my colleague here, Dr. Anna, calls them, she calls them our life lesson for this particular life. That we come back over and over again, and each time we have a different life lesson. But I think there's a connection, and I don't totally understand what the glitch is and why we feel the need as human beings to beat ourselves up over some of the experiences we've had, but we do. And so that's why I love what I do, because I love to facilitate the space for someone to realize that you don't have to beat yourself up. You're perfect just the way you are. You're having experiences, it's sometimes hard to understand that we may be having experiences just for the sake of having experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems so simple and so, you know, and I think it's, I mean, like you said, it's all about coming back to understanding our essence of light and love and who we are, and just giving ourselves the authority to do that, you know.
Do you think, oh, by the way, I must say, you know, she's amazing at what she does. I've had some experiences with her that, oh my God, that's what I can say. So she's amazing, really amazing.
It's just, it's all my attention is all it is. I mean, there's nothing really
you create
special.
an amazing space for that, you know, it's
I
amazing.
intend to do that. And, you know, I want to, you know, we started to touch at the very beginning, you know, about people being afraid of hypnosis and regression and all that kind of thing. And, you know, there are people in situations who might create a space that's not so loving and healing. You know, I mean, it is my intention to do that. And so it is, you know. But there are people who do use hypnotic techniques for whatever, for the dark side, you know.
And we will get to the point of the mass media, because I want to tap into that. But before we tap into that, I want to ask you something. Do you think it's really possible that we can live in our humanness, our essential soul, our soul? Because we are so wrapped up by our personalities, our egos and stuff, and we are so identified with that, that I wonder, do you think it's possible to manifest who we are beyond our ego self?
Yes, I believe it is possible.
So we can live the soul, the complete soul and essence in this lifetime in a human body.
I believe that's possible.
It is possible. Okay. So what do we need to do to get there, maybe, if it's about coming into contact with the essence?
I mean, my first thought is love yourself, you know, but we don't, you know, in the human experience, we don't all, our perception of love is...
Exactly. You gave me an amazing answer, and that's where I wanted to be headed. Probably that is the greatest answer for just this complex or maybe simple question. Can you be your soul? Yes. What do you need to do? You need to love yourself. So,
yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, everybody says that. You just need to love yourself.
Yeah, but what is?
What is that? Right?
What is that? Because I believe that the kind of love that 99.9% of the humanity knows is the second chakra love, the attraction kind of love, the desire kind of love.
Well, but some of them it's not even that. You know, I do a lot of inner child work, and you know, our human experience, we learn what love is from our parents, and sometimes that's not a pretty thing.
Exactly.
You know, our parents don't always know what love is. So our experience of love first on this human experience is whatever our parents said it was. You know, if they knocked us around every time we did something they didn't like, you know, on some level, as a child, you equate that with love because your parents are supposed to love you, and they might say, "I love you," whap, you know, and so our perceptions can be even
very dysfunctional.
Yeah, beyond even the chakras and the, you know, I mean, it's...
So, you see, I have this sort of resistance when we try to understand and say, oh, love yourself, and everything is love, but what we see in this world is that not everything is love. So, in order to reach to the kind of love that we want to, or that we know it exists, because also I think we have it in our DNA or someplace in our consciousness that we really know what love is, but we just don't, it's so hidden from us, or that we don't know actually what it is. So, okay, love yourself.
Let's change that to accept.
Okay, accept. We start with accepting. Okay.
Right. Because if you accept everything about yourself as okay, and everything about everybody else is okay, and everything about the experiences that you see and your perception of them, if you can just say everything's okay, does that feel better?
Feels better, but it feels difficult to accept. For instance, politicians that you see are creating war without any need. So I said, oh my God, can I really accept this whatever government politician or religious principle that is killing people for religious motives? Can I really accept that? How can I be like maybe the Dalai Lama that is willing to say, okay, Chinese people invaded Tibet and it's okay, I accept, and if it didn't happen, maybe I was not out in the world. It requires such an amazing development of the spiritual values to get there.
It really does, and you know, I think some people get stuck. They even a lot of the very, very spiritual people, it ends up being a stick your head in the sand kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you see those things and they, you know, you feel the hurt or the anger or the, you know, you want to change it. And they just, oh, I'm going to just be centered and be myself. And a lot of times they'll stick their head in the sand. That, you know, it's just that. And there's really a difference in kind of denying and saying, oh, I'm just love and it'll all be okay.
Yeah, we are we're not being very honest with ourselves.
Right. But there's a level where, you know, I mean, to me, our wholeness and our completeness is not outside ourselves. So if we're seeing things that are going on outside of us, it's, to me, it's just absolutely so important that we go inside. Everything we see, we make a mirror. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
The politicians, the horrible things that we see going on, the good things too, but it's usually the things that we perceive as bad that are the ones that aggravate us or frustrate us or make us feel like I can't. What do you mean love yourself when all this stuff's going on and I need to do something, I need to fix it, whatever. The ultimate is seeing it all as a mirror. Not being attached to what's happening outside of us. Going within and correcting what it is that's reflecting to us within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily, I'm going to say it's an easy thing to do. It's actually easier than trying to fix anything because we can't fix that.
Mm-hmm.
We really can't. I mean, we can take action as human beings and we can do things. We're here having this human experience. So to me, it's okay to be involved on that level. But if you really want to fix something, you have to start from inside.
Mm-hmm. Now, most people don't even know what is inside. They have never closed their eyes and looked inside, or when they do that, they're so afraid.
But see, you don't have to close your eyes and look inside. It's reflecting all around you.
Okay.
So anything that you see that affects you emotionally, you can I mean, that's what these experiences are for. I believe that's what the people are for. The people that come into our lives.
Most people are not going to believe that the experiences they are looking in the outside is a creation from the inside. For instance, as I share with you, you know, like we did this amazing work about finding our own power, and then I had to face the one that has blocked my own power in the outside world, and I never thought that after doing this work I was gonna have such a discussion and fight with this person that it actually helped me to prove myself and all my power. So I was wondering, did I create this experience? Oh my God, could it be possible? I'm working on my own power and then I had this situation. Am I creating it? Most people are not going to believe that we actually do create it because we feel victim of the circumstances, most of us. But are we really truly creating the experience to, even if it's a bad experience in quotations, it's a bad experience because we have an argument with somebody or a discussion and we call it bad experience, but are we creating that for us to receive what we need to receive in order to believe in ourselves?
We're definitely creating it based on what our inner workings, what's going on within ourselves, what's going on within everyone. We create. I think on a worldly scale, we're all creating.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the bad stuff we see going on that we think is bad is a lot of the negativity that on a whole we've created.
Like this, are we creating this? Is it your reflection? Is it my reflection? I'm trying to understand where is the mirror. We are creating this space for us to share with other people. Who is mirroring who? Or are we both in the co-creation of mirroring each other?
We're both in the co-creation of mirroring each other.
Okay.
And I know that, one of the things you said is most people won't own the responsibility of creating. And I want to, it's my intention to shift that based on what I feel like I know and what I feel like when I see things going on, I know it's my stuff. And I know that in order to affect it, I have to shift within myself.
Okay.
And so I want to see, I choose to see people starting more and more owning that and understanding it and getting it.
Because it seems that going and starting to go to the hypnotic way we have lived, conditioning is a way of hypnosis. We've been conditioned to believe in certain things because it's been repeated and repeated and repeated. So we've been hypnotized about certain beliefs. And those beliefs, especially for our Occidental world, Western world, have had to do with being different, the outside world from the inside world. We are separated. And so we are victims of circumstances. We have been conditioned to believe that.
It's time to shift that.
It's time to shift that. It is happening, don't you think?
It is happening.
So people are becoming more self-conscious. And what would you say about the media and how the media is being used to hypnotize people in their beliefs?
It most definitely has been used. There's so many levels of it. We've been hypnotized by our parents, by the people that care about us. We've been hypnotized by, the media, the political folks who they understand a lot more than we give them credit for. I just don't necessarily believe that they use it for light. It's more of a control, ego-based use of those things. And where we talk polarity, it's all out there, which comes back to the individual. It's up to each one of us to choose what we're going to alter or change or embrace in ourselves so that we can change. And I think it's like it expands as more of us own that power and don't let, maybe the ones who have decided that they're going to try to control us and keep our beliefs where we're separate. It's out there. It's out there as one of the possibilities. But I personally don't feel like it's the best possibility. It's not the possibility I choose. And I think more and more of us are seeing how powerful we are in that we can actually affect the whole. But it's not by going out and creating all these things to fix things outside of us. It's by doing it within.
Okay, so when you say by going within and changing, a lot of people are so unaware of how to change a thought pattern, and they are screaming for help from somebody outside to change, because we are not objective towards ourselves as others can see things in ourselves.
It's like my favorite saying is everybody, you're on a train and everybody else that's not on the train can see the train wreck coming except for you. You know, and that's the way we, you know, sometimes we're like that. You know, it's like we can't see the whole picture. But it's an option for us if you let go and break down some of those beliefs and some of those things that you've held on to for so long, and that, like you said, the separateness and the victim and all those things. But I kind of got off track there.
No, you what I was going to say, that is exactly what's happening. But if we learn to understand that the mirror thing, in that what happens outside ourselves is a mirror of whatever we are, because it's the way we relate to what is happening that is mirroring back to us. Maybe we, through others, we can, through our situations, we can start understanding a lot of what we're feeling and start changing. Do you believe that inner change starts happening when we come into a truce with our own power little by little? Because if I start having more power on myself, or more confidence in myself, I know that I can actually break down things that I don't believe in and learn what I have learned to start learning something new. Do you think that owning and having confidence in oneself and in owning the power is the best way, or one of the best options to start changing?
It's definitely an important aspect of it. You know, so many people are afraid of their power. So many people don't understand their power. But I think each time one of us gets it a little more and expands from within, each time one of us sees that mirror and utilizes what they're seeing to create a healing space within themselves, to shift something that you may be, you know, may have been a belief for a while. Every time you shift something inside yourself, it expands to the whole, and it makes it more easier, available and easier for others to do that. That's why it's so important for, and I'm having trouble saying this, I'm saying for those of us who understand, because we all have the understanding deep within us. Some of us are caught up in our perceptions of separateness and ego and all that. But for each one of us that begins to, or you know, just expand this whole consciousness, I think that's why we're seeing, you know, we see more and more. You said people, they're searching and they're just begging for help to do this because they feel the desire within them. And I think, you know, we're all helping build that desire. And I mean, we see at the center here where I work, I mean, we see people come in the door every day and they're searching for something. They don't always know what it is, you know, and if we can affect them by becoming more in tune ourselves every day, then, I mean, to me, that's why I'm here in this human experience right now. That's what I feel is my purpose. I got caught up in some of that human ego stuff for a long time. I thought it was my responsibility to fix everything. And on a spiritual soul level, energetic level, I have committed to that responsibility. But it's not about fixing things outside of me. My commitment to be responsible for healing the global consciousness is something I have to do within myself. And I finally realized that. I used to think I had to fix everybody. And what I realized...
It's quite a process, you know, to get to that realization.
Right, because I realized, oh, wait, I'm stuck in this human thought and perception of having to fix things. If I want to heal things, and I want to help, and I want to, that's my core, that's what I want to do. But it's not outside of me. You know, I mean, and when you have that aha moment that if I really want to affect something, if I want to affect my personal relationship with my spouse, if I want to affect my personal relationship with my children, if I want to affect my personal relationship with all the animals on the planet, if I want to affect my relationship with politics or media or anything else. You know, I mean, you can keep going broader and broader. I mean, it's such a, you know, you've heard it before. It starts with you. Well, it really does.
It does.
I mean, it does on a deeper level than some of us can even fathom.
Yeah.
It really, really does. It all starts with me.
It all starts
I can
with-
shift the way my interaction is going with you. I can shift the way my interaction is going with my husband, with my children. I can shift that in an instant by simply changing a thought pattern or a feeling or something within myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think, a lot of us, it may be a little difficult sometimes to embrace that, but it's the truth.
And
I
to
know
realize
that.
the power that we can actually change.
Yes.
Because, you know, a lot of people, for instance, now they believe in positive thinking, and positive thinking, and I start thinking positive, but nothing changes in their lives. And so I say, well, what's happening? If positive thinking is so powerful, but then why is nothing changing in their lives? And I do believe that it is because you can be thinking positively, but it's staying at a thinking level. It's not going deeper.
Exactly.
And there's no coherence or alignment with the true vibration of that
Right.
thinking. And we're not focusing enough on that power of that thought for us to change in our lives. And so when we become aware that we have actually that power that you have been mentioning, the power is inside. And as much as we have heard it outside so much, many people still don't know that the power is inside, because most people are afraid of looking inside. And even though that's changing, overcoming the fear of looking inside.
Yeah, it can seem like
accepting that.
it can seem like a scary place, but it really isn't.
It isn't.
It's the most loving, welcoming, allowing place you can be is in that space of who your true essence is, you know, and whatever that is, whatever that looks like to you, being okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
That is the initial, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and once you get in there, you realize that it's like a beautiful place to live.
It is definitely. And so, like, to round up with the idea of doing past life regression, is there anything else that you would like to bring forward to people that have never done it, or that are interested in doing it for whatever curiosity they might have, that can be helpful for them to really appreciate and understand the power that it has?
I guess initially, I mean, my thought when you said that, for someone who is searching and wants to, you know, experience that, or, I mean, I think you have to follow your own inner guidance, you know, finding someone, you know, that you trust and feel comfortable with, and, you know, my suggestion is always to everyone who, if, you know, you're just starting or you're on that inner journey toward your, you know, your true essence, that you learn how to meditate. And that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but to me, it's about committing. It's about committing to going to that quiet space every day. I remember when I decided to do that, you know, it's been 25 years ago. I decided I was going to start meditating. I was searching, you know, I was in that mode. And the commitment to myself and the commitment to that time for myself changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really did. It changed my entire life. It shifted so much. And, you know, and I talk to people, you know, when I work with people, do you meditate? Well, I try. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, what does that mean? It's kind of like Yoda. There is no try. You either
do or do
do
not.
or do not. You know, so it's a commitment to do it, to take that time to learn a few little techniques. There are so many, you know, available. I mean, we've got YouTube, we've got all these things. Now, granted, it's again finding something that feels good to you, that speaks to you, But there, there are CDs. There are, I'll have one out soon. I'm gonna also a little plug. Mine will be available soon. The total body relaxation and the chakra balancing that I do at the beginning of every session.
Yeah, you have to give me the website and stuff so we can put it in there.
I will. I will. But finding something that speaks to you and deciding and committing to go to that inner space, that quiet place, once a day at least. I mean, multiple times. And then what happens? What I learned is, as I started to work and do the meditation, and I committed to it every day, every day, every day.
It became your life.
It does. It becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of where you are. And so, I see people every day, you're so calm and you're so this and you're so, I'm like, well, I did work at it. Because in the human, human experience, it's not necessarily our natural inclination to go there. We're living life, and there's so much going on, and there's all this stuff to do. So you have to commit to that balance. And so, because I've done it for so many years, and I made that commitment to do it on a daily basis, I kind of live there now. You do. It creates more of a balance and more of a balance.
Yeah.
So
it pays off, as I said. If you've done 25 years of committing yourself, and I think that's the strongest and the clearer word that can really help people understand that this is a commitment process. If you don't commit to yourself, if you don't invest in yourself, this is not going to take you anywhere. So after 25 years of practicing, you see the results. And it's not something that you sit one day and meditate and you say, oh, this is not taking me anywhere. It has to be a discipline, a commitment, because it takes many years for you to start watching
it doesn't
and seeing.
it takes many years to actually live in that space, but it really did I did have to commit for probably a good 30 days before I saw a shift in my life. And then at that point, when I knew how to get there, and I did create it, and I knew that it was my intention to go there every day, what happened was that my days started turning out exactly like I wanted, because I became aware of how much I was creating what was going on. And so I started creating days that were just like I wanted them, instead of being the little victim in my life, So you're right. I mean, commitment is and so maybe we should kind of come full circle in this. It's like love yourself. We were talking about accept yourself, all these things. But first and foremost, make the commitment to yourself. And I know there's a unity minister that talks about being self-centered or centered in self, because a lot of us have had the issue with, we're being selfish if we're just working on ourselves and we're just committing to ourselves. But what you're doing, it's being centered in yourself. You're not being self-centered. And if you're centered in yourself, you can so much more affect. You have a ripple effect on what's going on around you. So I like that commitment.
Yeah, that's a very nice differentiation and very well put. Yeah, that's great. Gosh, well, I want to thank you so much. I know there's many more things that we can tap into, but I'd like to leave the audience with something that they can think, and I think this is a great point. That the commitment and accepting themselves and working on themselves. Nobody can do it for them. Everybody has to work on themselves for them to get to that point. And so thank you so much for the time you've given us.
Thank you. And I'd like to add that the commitment to yourself, even though one of the tools I use is the regression, it's important, again, when you make that commitment, to do something that speaks to you. It's just a tool that I've decided
it works for you.
And I see it work for a lot of people. And I combine a lot of little things in it. So regression, we started out talking about regression and why it's good and why it's, but it's just one of the many tools out there. And it's important when you make that commitment to yourself to do something that feels right for you.
Yes, that is. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we hope you have your CD out soon, so people that are interested can connect with that, because you have an amazing voice to reach, help people go inside. So I think it'll be a great thing you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.